Welcome back to Mario Galaxy, except we're talking about a terrible game. Because we got a memo saying we have to talk about this in the mail. Also, I don't know. Real quick.
To sum up what we said last time, Heidi should have stayed main character, Shuichi sucks as a main character, probably would have been killed off in the third chapter in any other game. Fucking Angie becomes one of the worst characters as time goes on. I forgot to say Ryoma. Ryoma is just there. Kurumi is a good character who basically gets bogged down by her fucking batshit backstory.
Yeah.
And Tenko is a character who I'd like to like more if it weren't for the fact that the story has her written so terribly that it's impossible to like her during the main story.
Yeah, I get that. Also, real quick off topic, but last month there was a bogus Willy Wonka scam event in Scotland, and I think it's funny.
The unknown.
What is that? It's the unknown.
Unfortunately, the main guy everyone associated with the Willy Wonka thing was a pedophile.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that too. But that whole experience was funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fun seeing all that shit go down.
I find it funny that the unknown. Everyone expected the unknown to be a guy, but it was a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah. What was that? Mistake. I'm surprised I lasted that long. But it's funny that people paid $40 for 35 bucks for such a scam. Obvious scam. And I guess this further proves that AI art sucks. If you guys haven't heard, I'm surprised that you probably would be living under a rock. But yeah. Anyways, back to our legally mandated dating room discussions. No, don't. I don't want to smooch you. No. Oh god. They're horny. So yeah, Angie and Tenko are dead. They have a trial investigation in... Oh no. Give up. They have a trial to figure out who done it. And there's a motive, and there's a rule saying that only the killer of the first victim will get punished. But as it turns out, this killer... Oh wait, Tenko was voiced by Ibuki Miyota.
So funny thing about that little twist about the whole only the killer of the first victim gets punished thing.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, didn't they use it as a way to like the killer like use it as a way to like try to say, I wasn't the one who did that, so I'm scot-free for killing Tenko.
Yeah. Anyway, Tenko was voiced by Ibuki Miyota. Turns out the killer killed both of those people, and it's none other than Korekio Shinjuchi. Incest man. Voiced by Teru Hanamura.
Which only checks out.
Which checks out. That's all you guys need to know about that character. I'm not going to elaborate further. Not because I don't have anything to say, it's because I don't want to. Chapter 4. They go...
Honestly, he's probably the worst killer on the basis of a person.
Yeah.
But he's probably the most, satisfying killer to see die.
Certainly. Chapter 4. There's a VR world. It's like the Matrix they go in. Developed by the ultimate inventor, Miyu Iruma. Voiced by Akane Owari. If you can believe that. They go in there. There's some special rules or some shit. I might have to do this in the game. But it turns out, bam! Someone is dead.
And it's the creator of the fucking VR world.
It's the creator of VR world. Miyu Iruma is dead. For some reason. So they do a trial.
Okay. So let's talk about Miu as a character.
People just say she's girl Teru, but they give her the excuse because she's girl.
Yes, that's true. She basically gets away with having a terrible personality because she's hot. Counterpoint: she's also more useful than Teru.
That is also true.
Unironically, it is a lot easier to let go of it because one, we as a society basically say that you can't get molested if you're a guy, but also because in general
there was a scene where Kilo got molested.
Yeah, because in general, Miu pulls her weight a lot more than Teru does as a character. Not only did she create this whole VR world, but she ends up being responsible for a lot of things in hindsight revolving around solving the mystery of the end. Because she basically gets started on work that Kibo would eventually finish.
Yeah.
And along with that, the events of this chapter basically start correlating to the end of the game. Because they start figuring things out thanks to this VR world.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, she's a giant pervert. But on the other hand, first of all, for as much as we give her shit for essentially being female Teru, we do have to take into consideration a few things.
Number one.
Only people have human rights.
Number two.
Number two, if we're taking Kibo away, the only person she actually goes out of her way to essentially flirt on is Shuichi.
Have you seen that Love Hotel sequence?
Yeah.
Jonathan, when we were playing that, we were like, what if we get Miu in the Love Hotel? And then we did. And we were scared.
Yeah, she's not helping her case by the fact that both of the guys she likes were herbivores.
Yeah.
Which is a term for Japanese males, specifically talking about the ones who are a lot more essentially non-willing to be confrontational about their emotions. Basically, people who wait for everything to happen to them.
Yeah.
Think Makoto. But Miu essentially gets away with it more, both because she's a hot girl.
Yeah.
She limits herself to two guys because she doesn't do this to any of the other characters. In reality, most of her perviness comes from her willingness to make really weird fetishy machines. Yeah. Which, again, iffy. But she isn't going out of her way to fucking drug people.
That is true.
And, finally, the most, important thing, not only is she a lot more useful than Teru as a person, because she actually is directly responsible for some things that would help, save everyone down the line.
Yeah.
But there's also the general fact that Miu... There's some more hints to the idea that Miu isn't entirely just that. Over the course of the game, you get hints at the idea that first of all, she's a masochist and stuff like that. Implying that her very forceful personality is mostly just trying to essentially make up for the fact that if anyone were to ever confront her, she essentially buckled down damn near immediately.
Yeah.
Because anytime anyone actually confronts her over anything, she immediately backs down and starts getting really emotional about it, implying that for a good chunk of her life, she was kind of emotionally abused. Because, you don't break down like that unless you have reasons to expect people to, hurt you in ways that are weird.
Yeah.
And, along with the whole constantly making weird fetishisticity of just machines, I wouldn't put it out of my way to believe that her backstory involved being actually abused, both physically and sexually.
Yeah.
So generally, she's forgiven a lot more because there's enough hints at the idea that she wouldn't be acting like this if basically she was given a different backstory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that twist is very much gonna make things different about these characters soon.
Yeah. So Miyu is dead. The killer turns out to be the killer turns out to be Gonta Dokuhara, voiced by, I think, Yasuhiro Hidatore. Gonta is a person. He's tall.
He's basically Tarzan, but with an entomology degree.
Pretty much. So yeah, and also Monofani gives birth to Monotaro's baby in this execution. I'm sorry I had to remind you of that, but you know.
You don't want 3 of them.
Yeah. Thank God. Chapter 5.
I guess I'll give my general opinion to Gonta, because I don't have much. All of the shtick could basically be summed up to gentleman insect jokes, him acting like a caveman jokes, which wasn't even in the original Japanese, it's a dub thing.
Of course.
And just generally, basically not knowing what he's doing half the time because he doesn't know how to interact with people.
Yeah.
And, while it could make him a better character than some people, that doesn't change the fact... It's behind you.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. It doesn't change the fact that, for the most part, you can just write him off as those things.
Red Star.
Because, yeah, he kind of is.
Yeah.
He's not much more interesting than you'd expect. His whole Wild Man thing really never comes up, like outside of backstory stuff. In reality, he's just kind of there. He's mostly there to be Kokichi's lackey, and he gets taken out at a point where you get the feeling they just ran out of things to work with him.
Yeah.
He honestly could have died earlier and no one would have complained.
But the buff guy has to die in Chapter 4.
Yeah, which is probably the reason why he survived.
Anyhows. So, Chapter 5. I don't remember much of Chapter 5, to be honest, but, someone gets swished. Nobody knows who it is. And people are throwing out it's either Kaito Momota, the ultimate astronaut, or Tokichi Onna, the ultimate supreme leader.
Read annoying asshole.
Yes. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. It's Tokichi that got squished. Because, I'd say something about him, but pretty much everything about him has already been said. 3 times.
He's basically worse Nagito.
Yeah.
But I mean, he takes up the role of annoying asshole who gets in the way of everything. Kind of like Yasuhiro. So, yeah. Essentially, Yasuhiro, Nagito, and Shuichi and Kokichi are basically the same archetype of annoying asshole who says shit to make things harder on everybody.
Because that's fun. Everybody loves those types of characters.
And while everyone universally seems to dislike Yasuhiro, everyone forgives Kokichi and Komeda for the same reason. They're hot boys.
Kokichi isn't even that pretty.
He isn't, but they treat it like he is.
I still remember how funny it was that, unlike the poster cover art for Danganronpa S, they gave Kokichi abs, but in the actual game he doesn't have any. Which he shouldn't.
Sums it all up real well, actually. The cover art made for fans to buy because they want to be horny shows them with abs in game.
Wait a minute.
Which treats it a lot more. It can.
Also,
nothing.
Also, the fact that Junko has an entirely different swimsuit.
Maybe it's meant to be Mukuro's. Yeah. You know, Mukuro's non-existent swimsuits, and she doesn't get a fucking.
I know.
Fucking hell.
And we just got one, like, a couple weeks ago. I think just last week. And
it was her in combat armor and her in a dress. She looked good in the dress, too! Which, again, goes to show you that her sister's talks of her looking ugly and kind of all that basically just can be summed up to Junko being a total bitch to her older sister.
She's just jealous. Anyway, so Kokichi dies. Fuck that bitch. Kaito. Kaito.
He's important for plot reasons, but unironically, out of his category for, like, annoying asshole who gets in the way on purpose. Oh yeah, Byakuya also technically falls into this category, by the way.
Yeah.
The only reason Byakuya doesn't fully is because by the fifth case, he finally starts taking this shit seriously and basically stops being an obtuse asshole about everything.
Yeah.
Because he basically started to realize, oh wait, everything has gone to shit.
Too late to redeem him from me, though.
Yeah, no. Unironically, most of his character development happens late in game and for every other appearance outside of that, and unfortunately one of his appearances is in 3. But Hagakure never really learns that lesson of, oh, things are being serious. He instead keeps saying stupid shit up until the final chapter, and even up until that final battle.
Yep.
Kokichi is easily the least interesting of those guys. The reason I say that is because Kokichi, his entire shtick is he's the ultimate leader, which, like I mentioned, read annoying asshole. Because that's basically, like, he's the leader of a fucking prank group. Basically, you ever see any of those prank channels on YouTube? He's the guy in charge of those things.
Yeah.
They built him up so much in the beginning, like when this game was coming out, and he's nothing. Like the most notable thing about him is that, like, he basically decides to, on this chapter, to instead stop fucking around on things and start trying to ruin the game. Like, justifiably, because let's be honest with you, the game is stupid, but at the same time, it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. For
him. Other characters were already acting like that for a while. But, like Yasuhiro has the fact that he's a legitimate fortune teller, and we know he's legitimate because he's unironically able to look into the future and see the bad ending. Hey, Luigi.
Might even have to change out of the costume.
Just get into the water.
Got him. Nope.
Huh.
Yeah. So bees are fine, but ghosts aren't.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, going over the class trial.
Kaido.
The killer's Kaido.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about him.
Kaido could basically be summed up as a Gurren Lagann joke. The most interesting thing about him is that he is someone who was already going to die no matter what. Because he has a terminal disease. And unlike Kameda, who says he has a terminal disease, he actually gets him at the end.
Damn.
Because, Kaido straight up dies of his terminal disease while he's being executed. And that pisses off Monokuma, because he got robbed, his kill got stolen by him by a disease.
Attention, Monokuma. Cope.
Fucking Steve and Cope, you fucking.
Chapter...
Also, he was Maki's main love interest, which is the other thing about him.
Yeah.
But honestly, I never saw it. Like, I get it. It might be cute, but Maki just never really felt that into him.
Yeah. Chapter 6.
Like, she started getting, like, jealous of him by the end. Like she started acting like she was getting into him. but a bit too little, too late by the time that happens.
Yeah.
Because he dies in that chapter.
Chapter 6. Kibo has had enough of this shit and is going to shoot up the school. I'm sorry for that bad joke, but that's essentially what happens. So,
awfully good.
So they do a recount of trial number 1. Or a retrial.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to call it. Also, this is probably the last episode. We just need to put a couple more stars, then we can unlock the final level.
So notable things. We now get Ren's backstory.
Ren.
Or Rentaro.
Oh, wait. Tokichi was voiced by Fuyuhiko Kuzurio, and Kaito is Kazuichi Soda. And I haven't forgotten, Soichi is Leon Kawada. Chapter 6. So, we get Rantaro's backstory. He has a talent! Surprisingly.
The ultimate survivor.
Because he survived the previous killing game.
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
Huh. You know,
So the reason... So if you don't remember, the reason Sugumi had him killed...
Samudi.
Is because this was his 3rd fucking killing game in a row.
Yeah.
And essentially, he was gonna... Like, people expected him to win for a 3rd time in a row. To the point where people were, like, expecting him to get spin-offs and all that. He was basically already becoming ridiculously popular.
Yeah.
But the people in charge of Danganronpa got sick and tired of the fact that he had won so many times. Because quite literally, it stops being quote unquote fun in their eyes if it's so predictable.
Yeah.
Because he opted to stay in the killing game twice. Because he knew that if he'd survived a 3rd time, he would basically be set for life as a celebrity.
But he died.
Because he was killed off by the game master. Because, oh yeah, this is the same chapter that basically reveals everything.
Yeah.
So, first of all...
Also, a side note, I think it would be cool to see a prequel game showing Rantaro's previous killing game.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Anyways, first of all,
the mastermind
is Samudi.
Shirodane, the ultimate cosplayer.
Second of all,
she is voiced by Sayaka and Chihiro.
Yeah. Second of all, this game is in fact a reality TV show, and the player isn't the player because the audience at home is playing, and they're playing through Kibo. Third of all. Fucking, all the games have been fiction, yada yada yada. None of the games in the past actually mattered. This was clearly retconned by the summer game because they basically realized no one liked this twist.
Yeah.
So they'd rather act like the V3 characters were just the 99th class. I mean,
79.
The 79th class, which honestly would have been like automatically what everyone expected from them.
Yeah.
And I say that because, the summer game, like, the Danganronpa S, basically treats it like these characters have always been part of this timeline, not the whole V3 weird-ass thing.
Yeah.
To the point where Tsumugi will interact with Junko, and they'll act like they know each other and have worked in the past and shit.
Which, for fan service purposes, but, like, come on, nobody likes V3's ending. I am on the team. I don't like this ending. I think you're on the same team.
Well,
I hated.
Look, I like meta-media, but only in certain ways.
God,
and only when it's doing certain things.
I'm gonna say this ending. It felt like a fucking Family Guy script. The way that's just in your face about its messages. And that's a weird comparison. But tell me you haven't seen Family Guy episodes of tactical politics.
Or a Family Guy episode that has Brian and fucking Quagmire.
Yeah. Man, they say they're equal opportunity offenders, but they're fairly biased.
And the bias is, they fucking hate Danganronpa fans.
Yeah. I was talking about Family Guy, but...
No, yeah, but I was bringing up this. The message of the game is, Danganronpa is a franchise that should die, and the only way for it to die is if everyone stops playing these games.
Problem is, everybody hated that message. So they had to throw in a whole new game. To be like, man.
And that never happened.
And all is forgiven. Can't wait for Danganronpa S2, which is set in the winter time, and everyone has winter-themed outfits.
I'd accept it.
You know, I after I like conceptualized that as a joke, I realized, you know what? They might actually do that. Class reunion for winter.
Give Mukino a fucking Sprite.
If they do that, and Mupro still does not have a fucking Sprite of her own, I will fly over to Sprite Shootinsoft HQ and do and actually commit the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. And for legal reasons, I have to say I'm joking.
I'd go to Sprite Shootinsoft and graffiti with the fucking Fenrir tag.
Damn it. Get her out of the goddamn wig. Is it that hard?
We have multiple appearances of her outside of If with her character design. Why the fuck are you guys...
That means...
Anyways, going back to the main plot twists,
Kibo is the new protagonist.
Yeah, Shuichi falls into despair. Again, showing that he's just not built for this.
Yeah. Kibo is voiced by Hifumi Yamada.
So, I guess, well, since we already covered Shuichi for pro-tag reasons,
yeah,
let's cover Kibo here, because he basically is going to die.
He basically said his entire personality is, I'm a robot.
Yeah. I technically covered him, I guess, but let's cover this part of this aspect of his character.
Okay.
He is literally the camera man of this fucking TV show.
Which means you saw Miu shit.
Huh?
Which means you saw Miu shit.
Yeah. And he's also, quite literally, the player character for the audience at home. Downside, this both means that A, no Ultimate Lucky student, because he's technically filling up that role.
Yeah.
And B, in general, when you take away his whole shtick of, I'm a robot, which also, you know, is the implication being that the only reason that shit kept coming back up is because the audience kept saying that shit for him? Because if so,
stupid audience. They don't want anything new. They want the same IPs over and over again.
Like, just generally, he's not a fun character to be around because he's annoying.
Oh well.
Like, just the whole aspect of him being the camera of this game also just kind of brings into question just how much of him was his actions, how much of it was the fucking players, and why the fuck did they feel the need to have it so that the players could play along with this reality TV show?
Oh yeah, and the V means 5. It's 53.
Yeah, 53 seasons of this bullshit.
How?
And in what world do you think we'd ever accept the idea of a blood sport like this coming back? Like, ritualistically sending 16 kids to essentially volunteer to kill themselves with, like, only 2 survivors is some bullshit. Actually, not really only 2 survivors. Everyone survives, technically, but, like, the thing is, it's implied in V3 that outside of those first few games, where, like, they were actual games,
yeah,
by the time they hit the reality TV portion, what was actually happening was that essentially it would just get down to 2 people and the mastermind, and one person would go home and one person would stay in the game and the mastermind would just continue. Because the implication for the whole Rentaro thing is that now that the game had basically become assigned to these people, there wasn't massive groups of people surviving these games, but the mastermind being found too often nowadays.
Yeah. Shit.
So, quite literally, just it's basically saying that people were willingly going to this fucking essentially suicide booth for entertainment and chance to essentially reach fame.
I mean, it's risky, but you could be famous.
But yeah, Rentaro basically already made himself all but famous by surviving two games in a row, and he was essentially built up to survive a third one.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that the implication is that most groups didn't have more than 2 people in the mastermind happening. Is remember how many people survived this game?
3.
3 people. With the implication being that the only reason that the mastermind was caught this fast is because Kibo quite literally decided to hold the school up essentially via a gun, and then as the whole thing was being solved, and then everyone realized Kibo was actually the camera for the audience. Everyone convinced Kibo to the audience to essentially just stop watching.
Yep.
Implying that had Kibo not decided to say fuck it, at the very beginning of the chapter, there would have been at least a few more people dying before the end. Because I don't know if Kibo would be counted as that.
Yeah. Boing.
Anyways, to make matters worse, the revelation that Tsumugi was the actual killer of Rentaro means that they...
Okay, they died for nothing?
At all.
Anyway, the school blows up, everyone dies, the end.
Let's say some words about the characters we haven't. So, Tsumugi is a character whose entire shtick, for the longest time, up until the revelation that she's the actual mastermind, is basically...
I'm so plain.
Yeah.
I'm a weeb.
She's basically just as bad as Makoto is on himself, only there's really no reason for her to call herself plain. She's a hot cosplayer. What the fuck are you on about?
Well...
unironically, it's implied that because of the way that everyone else isn't a actual ultimate, Tsumugi, as she's part of the staff, and also the fact that she clearly shows legitimate ultimate skill, that Tsumugi's an actual ultimate, right?
Yeah.
That's the implication. She's the legitimate ultimate cosplayer. But because the whole thing is that ultimate skills can now be given to people, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So, why the fuck did she feel at any moment that she can essentially sum herself up to a plain, ordinary girl when... Do you have any idea how popular cosplayers are?
Clearly not.
I'm sorry, but being hot already essentially makes you socially in the 1%. Being a hot cosplayer, and a hot Japanese cosplayer at that, someone who can actually stick to realism for most of those costumes,
yeah,
you're basically just setting yourself up to be one of the most like non-standard persons on that crew.
Yeah.
Like most of the cosplayers who I've seen make quite a lot of money on fan sites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're not people who I would consider as ordinary people.
Because they're not?
Yeah. So the idea of like someone like Samugi considering himself an ordinary person, like especially a plain person, is kind of fucking hilarious. Just having the confidence to cosplay in the first place makes you stand out. Like, I love anime too. You wouldn't find me in cosplay because I'd be absolutely terrified to do so.
Anyways.
There's only a few more characters we haven't talked about.
Himiko.
Yeah, there's Himiko and Maki.
Maki, as mentioned, is my favorite.
Maki is a great character who has the unfortunate downside of essentially just kind of being written off as Kaido's love interest in like the last half.
Yeah.
Like, after Kaido dies, her character just kind of starts focusing entirely on him. Because this game has this weird obsession with building up love subplots that just go nowhere and can basically be summed up to one character likes one character and this one and the other character doesn't until they're dead and gone.
Yep. That's Danganronpa for you.
The thing is, that's Danganronpa V3 specifically.
I know.
Like, the other Danganronpa games have characters who clearly have actual love stories that are gonna continue on in some facet.
Yep.
Like, Danganronpa 1 doesn't have too many, because, what, like, we're counting, like, Byakuya and Toko? No. But, like, the ones that we do have are substantial. There's Makoto and Kyoko.
Yep.
And then there's the fact that if they didn't want to go the Makoto and Kyoko route, there's enough hints at the idea that Aoi also has a crush on Makoto that they could go for that instead.
Or just give him a full harem.
Yeah. And then there's the fact that there's a ton of hints at the idea that Toko might also have feelings for Kamaru.
Yeah.
And for 2, the entire cast survived, with the exception of Chiaki.
Yeah. Gundam and Sonya are obviously going to be a thing.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they're not. It's the Pearl and Marina of...
And Hajime can basically go with any of the girls, realistically.
If I had to pick one, I'd say Nikon.
And then there's the fact that Peko and Fuyuhiko are almost certainly going to get together.
Yeah. And Kazuichi will die alone. Oh, no, Terra can die alone.
Yeah. Just generally, like, Danganronpa V3's the only actual love stories in this game all die. Unless you want to ship Shuichi with one of the surviving girls.
Or a threesome.
Yeah. Or threesome.
Yeah.
And Himiko, her entire shtick can basically...
Meandered. She's voiced by Chiaki.
Yeah. Can basically be summed up to a girl who's obsessed with the idea of magic being real and her having actual legitimate magical powers.
It's magic.
Again, a chuny.
Yeah. So,
I'd say there's hints at the idea that she might be telling the truth, but there isn't. And any hints that might have been there are clearly planted by the TV show and the TV network in charge of the show.
Yeah.
So, let's get to the biggest elephant in the room, and that is the fact that none of these characters actually exist.
Yep, they're all fictional. It's all a lie.
And by that, we mean, quite literally, all these personalities were essentially just kind of...
Made up.
Yeah, they were implemented into people.
Fun. I'm sure the fans will go over that well.
Just... this game was a waste of effort if you really think about it. Because what have we accomplished in this run? We've taken down a TV show. That's all we really did. And we have no guarantee that the show won't like be revived for another season or anything like that.
Of course.
Shuichi, Maki, and Himiko are out and about, but they're not even with their original personalities. They're essentially new people entirely.
Yeah.
So the original versions are basically dead. And while they have ultimate talents that were implemented into them, we don't know how much of those ultimate talents were actual ultimate talent, or rather just implemented the idea that they're good at these things. Like, sure, they built them up in the school, but how much of this is going to translate outside of the fucking game?
Nothing!
Especially because, like, Shuichi's talent was based off of the idea that he's a detective, and, like, he'd work at his uncle's, like detective agency. But his uncle doesn't have a detective agency because we don't even know if he has an uncle or not. Yeah. Where is he going to get work?
Nowhere!
Maki's definitely not going to get any work because everyone knows she's meant to be an assassin, not an actual child caretaker.
Yeah.
And Himiko can get away with it because, yeah, no shit. Like, her magic is literally just, parlor tricks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She can find work if, as long as she keeps it up. But essentially, just 16 kids have lost their lives. 3 have managed to essentially have their personalities erased entirely.
Yeah.
And the biggest TV show on air, just kind of had a massive walkout in retaliation towards the idea that the show should be allowed to continue as is.
So yeah, in conclusion, Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony is a video game that exists. It's the worst one.
Yep.
And it's not even close.
It's just... Well, technically, no. No, I'm not going to give the worst title to V3. Ultra Despair Girl still exists.
Oh, yeah. Well, the worst of the trilogy.
But it's definitely the least interesting.
Yeah. Overall, what did we learn from this... Wait, I don't have enough of these. What did we learn from this discussions?
I guess we learned...
Giatti, best girl.
That 1 and 2 are much better than every other aspect of the franchise.
Yeah. Makoto, best protagonist.
Yeah.
Junko should stop. Junko came back, and we didn't even touch upon that.
Junko came back in the laziest sense possible. She's literally just a costume for Tsumugi. Who, by the way, has this weird thing of having 53 in all of her eyes.
Yeah. It's dumb. I'd rather not talk about it further. So yeah, that's the end of Danganronpa as we know it. Or is it?
Somehow, Junko has returned.
Yeah. I made that joke when we were doing that.
I know, but it reminded me of something.
Somehow,
Eisner has returned. Because, if you didn't know, Michael Eisner made news by supporting Bob Iger during this current thing where Disney is basically going through a civil war of power.
Yeah. And
people immediately start joking about how Kevin Berger must be rolling in his bed, waking up from a nightmare, just realizing, oh no, Michael Eisner is back.
Imagine he becomes a CEO again.
Honestly, I'd welcome it at this point.
It's not going to happen, but...
I enjoyed his tenure as CEO.
But,
it'd be better than whatever the fuck Chapek was doing.
But now he's got Marvel, Lucasfilm, and 20th Century Fox to deal with. And Pixar, I guess, because they own them now. And now 10% of Epic Games.
Yep.
For some reason.
I don't know.
Anyway, But yeah, V3 was the last Danganronpa game. They have not made a single game since then.
Other than S.
Other than S. And that's just fan service. We played it on this channel.
It's alright.
Yeah. I mean, for a $20 spin-off, it's pretty much what I was expecting. And hey, it's
not. I wish there was more interactions with characters that don't already interact in the series.
But hey, in terms of YouTube, it's an easy content farm.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And that still doesn't change the fact that why the fuck
why doesn't Mukuro have her own sprites?
Fucking Usami has a sprite.
Priorities, am I right?
Yep.
Oh wait. I read the memo, Ron.
Mm.
We weren't supposed to be talking about Danganronpa. We were supposed to be talking about Amori.
Okay.
We wasted 2 hours on that.
Okay.
I'm joking, but...
first of all, Sunburn easily the best ship.
I know. It's been a year since we played Amori, so...
And I'm still very much on my Sunburn,
Defender. Crusade arc.
Yeah, look, I get it. You might have issues with Aubrey and the way she acts, and let's be honest here, she'd almost certainly be like the most violent about her reaction towards the truth.
Yeah.
But I still find it cute. Fuck you.
Still, has it really been a year?
Yeah.
God. We're old. Where'd the time go?
I've listened to My Time quite a few times.
Close.
Yeah, which tells you anything about where my mental headspace has been most year.
There was a concert recently.
And I've seen them, and then, like, literally, in the last few weeks, I've seen a resurgence in people just posting several hour-long videos talking about the fact that they just played Amori for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen at least 2. Both of which have been for, like, the last month.
Yeah. So... Yeah, I'm still...
Oh, let's talk about our opinions on each character, and who's most likely, and how do you feel they'd react to the truth?
We talked about that initially when we first began.
I know, but it's been a year, so let's
Okay, Sunny is the truth giver.
Sunny
needs help.
Yeah, that kid desperately needs some therapy.
Basil needs it more.
They need a restraining order against each other is what they need.
Fuck Sunflower, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be brutally honest here and say this right now. I get it, I get where you're coming from. I get it, you think it's cute. But I would rather never allow Basil to have to suffer the indignity of essentially getting shipped with his abuser.
Yeah.
Because let's be perfectly honest here, Sunny fucked up Basil's life hard.
Yeah.
Like, unironically, I would never put it past Basil if he never wanted to see Sunny ever again after all the shit he had to go through for his best friend.
Cal.
Like, do you have any idea just how horrible Basil's life got after Sunny did the shit that he pulled?
Yeah.
Like, sure, Basil is the one who suggested the whole suicide thing. But at the same time, Basil had to deal with much bigger repercussions thanks to that.
Yeah.
If you, like, going back to that whole, like, duet sequence, you ever notice how Aubrey is the one that introduced Basil to everybody else? Implying Aubrey is Basil's longest and probably oldest friend, like, as in the person he's probably the closest to among this group outside of Sunny.
Yeah.
You remember just exactly who made Basil's life a living hell thanks to Sunny?
Aubrey.
Yeah, literally, Basil's oldest friend, like the only, like one of the longest friends he ever had, is the one who makes his life a living hell, on the basis that these two essentially faked their friends' death.
fun.
And the only reason Aubrey even got to as bad as she did with Basil is because Sunny literally refusing to accept what the fuck just happened took a Sharpie marker to his photos of like his friends and his sister like in the past, and essentially just covered them up with black Sharpie marker.
Yeah.
And Basil just had to take the fall. Like, what was he gonna do? Tell Aubrey that like one of his closest friends and let's be honest here, her crush quite literally was the one that did that?
It was something that did it, and Basil will say that, and Aubrey will call him crazy.
Yeah. Either he'd bring up something or he'd have to bring up Sunny. And let's be honest here, who the fuck would even believe that outside of Sunny's mouth himself? Like, if it's not Sunny bringing it up, would you honestly believe Basil if you were the one to tell you that, like, no, it wasn't me, Sunny did this, when you haven't even seen Sunny in months?
I'm not gonna question.
Because, like, remember, like, after, like, the first few, like, after a bit, like, essentially Basil was the only one who even had access to Sunny for a while.
Yeah. And then...
So, yeah, no, I do not believe in Sunflower, because I think it is not a healthy thing for someone who's been essentially emotionally abused for the last 3 years of his life to go back to his abuser.
Yeah, that's dumb. Suntan, which is Sunny X Kel.
I could see it. But I just don't think Kel has a thing for him.
Yeah,
I could see it, though.
I prefer to see them as, like, a bro dynamic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, especially because... Let's be honest here. Kel needs friends. It's... Like, by that I mean, he needs friends that he can emotionally depend on. Because, he clearly can't depend on his brother.
Clearly.
Because, look, as much as Hero is healed in that time, it's also made quite abundantly clear, Hero's not, like, the most emotionally ready for everything to ever talk about the stuff that, like, went down. Like, he only feels comfortable talking about it to Sunny because he's Mari's brother.
That ruined my entire run.
And, like, he was so bad, he shut down for like a fucking year.
Yeah.
So, like, if something were to ever happen like this to Kel again, he'd need someone who was actually, like, capable of, like, being there for him, because his family clearly isn't going to be there for him.
Yeah.
And most of the friends he's made outside of that, which aren't a lot from what we can tell, because, like, you ever notice, like, the only people he seemingly interacts with are, like the jock?
Yeah.
Like, the kid boy and the jock boy are, like, the only people he actually interacts with.
Yeah.
Implying that, like, also, like, the closest thing he gets to friends after that are people he only interacts with because Sunny willingly goes out of his way to interact with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. He seemingly, like, lost quite a few friends in the transition from having a close-knit friend group to being on his own because his brother shut off his brother's girlfriend died. One of his best friends has shut himself away from the rest of the world and he can't get to him, and two of the others are in a just worse situation than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Because the one you fight with constantly is now a part of a gang, and the one who probably needs some of the most emotional help out of the entire crew is now being bullied.
Yeah. You know, I was reminded, because I remembered, when we were playing Amori for this channel, there was a brief scene where, like, Sunny sees, like, the headspace enemy in the real world.
Yep.
And he disappears, and you were like, the accident's not your fault, Sonny.
It was.
And in my mind, there was an alarm bell ringing inside, being like, oh no, does he know?
I did not, but it was.
Yeah. The accident wasn't your fault, Sonny. Or was it? I mean, was it Sonny's fault or was it Mari's fault for pushing him?
Okay, first of all, you can blame Mari for getting in the fucking way of the fucking stairs. You have a bad knee, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But second of all, Sonny was the one to push her.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't call 911, which I get, shock.
He was so in shock that he didn't realize what he had done until he literally already hanged her.
Yeah. Everything's going to be okay.
Like, it wasn't until he saw Mari like, hang there with and her resemblance to something.
Yeah.
With the implication being that he might have believed at that moment that she had been alive. And she, like, hanging her was what really killed her.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That he broke out of that shock.
Yeah. During that live stream concert, it was announced that a physical collector's edition of Amori is coming. Here it is.
Nice. Nice.
For $84.
Fair price.
Will not ship until the summer. It comes with a piano music box that plays duet.
Huh.
A sheet music box that wraps violin and piano arrangements for duet, written up in original illustrations. An envelope. And there will be a Japanese version for the Switch only. Here we're also getting the PS4 version. The Xbox version is still fucking dead for some reason. So to those who asked, are you ever going to do the Hikikomori route? 1, our save data is kind of gone. 2, once is enough.
No. Fucking... We're ever gonna acknowledge the fact that Sonny's dad definitely knew what the fuck that happened?
Yeah, certainly. You swing me right around, baby, right around.
It is kind of interesting, like, how blatantly obvious it was that, like, Sonny's parents were kind of abusive to him.
Yeah.
Like, in hindsight. And that the only reason Sonny's mom treats him better nowadays is because she basically started realizing that, because, like, they set it up to be a suicide, she basically started realizing that she might have been too harsh on both of them. So she tried making it up by being nicer to Sonny and generally treating him better. But
what are your thoughts on the?
She can't really do anything because she hasn't like taken into consideration that he might already be on too much of a depressive spiral.
Yeah. What do you think of the funny? What do you think of that? The thing where, like, after the truth's revealed, Hiro just beats up Sonny in the hospital or something. I think it's funny, but I don't think he'd actually do that.
I'd imagine him punching him or maybe almost choking him out.
Yeah. Hey.
But I think he'd realize that, like, after that, like, that brief moment that he just hurt Sonny, and he'd have to back away because he'd feel like he'd go too far.
Yeah. So
in reality, I feel like he'd just leave the room, like, quickly before he did anything he'd regret.
Yeah. Are you even one of my students? Oh yeah, random thing I just remembered. Rooster Teeth is shutting down.
That is true. Good.
Rip. and Warner Brothers will be selling off the rights to Ruby, Red vs. Blue, and there was one other.
Camp?
Something, I forget what it was.
We'll check later.
Will that mean Ruby's going to be good?
Probably not.
No. Oh well.
I like wholeheartedly. I'm afraid. Whoever buys Ruby,
Nickelodeon.
because I wouldn't put it past people to like kill off John.
Nickelodeon.
No, it's probably someone. It's probably not going to be them.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that is because John is my favorite character, and he's easily the best written character in my opinion. But he's also the most divisive character of the main crew. Because there are a lot of people who don't like him because he's a guy, and a lot of people who don't like him because he was the main focus of a four episode arc in the first season, and people still haven't let that go, even though Jaundice was a 4 episode arc during a time where episodes were 4 minutes long.
I'm gonna go grab a snack. I'll be right back.